You're watching ABC4 News.
Welcome back and thanks for sticking with us. In light of the recent school violence, today we're talking about how schools and communities can be more responsive in emergencies. So joining us now is Justin Chapman, the Director of Training with EJICS here in Salt Lake City. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So we were just talking earlier about time and how crucial it is in emergency situations like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Looking at any of these active shooter or active violent situations, the time that law enforcement takes to get on scene and to actually, take out a suspect or to stop that threat is so critical in the survival aspect of those who are unarmed and who are not facing or who are facing that threat and they're not law enforcement. So when we look at the ways that we can potentially prepare schools specifically, since that's kind of in the news lately. We look at ways that we can make that response quicker, how we can coordinate those assets, coordinate emergency operations plans that the schools may have, along with our first responders, our police and our fire personnel, to get to that scene as quick as possible to take care of that threat, to stop the killing. Prior to that, if we're talking about time as well, what does the school or what does a group like that do in the meantime to help protect themselves? When
you were talking about making that response faster, what are some questions we should be asking?
So, there's everybody knows 911, of course, right? We make that phone call when there's an emergency, and we at EJICS are not looking to replace 911. We still need to do that, but we do have a technology now that allows, by the push of a button, simply on a phone or on a computer, to make that mass notification to those who can make a difference. So to your school administrators, to other teachers within their individual classrooms, so they know what action to take and make themselves safe, and directly out to your first responders. There's no lag in time. It literally is a push of a button and all those people are notified. Things will change, of course, as that goes, but that gets the ball rolling right away and gives them an opportunity to communicate crucial information, whether it's pictures of a suspect, whether it's where they're at and what they're doing, or if they need medical attention. All of that is encompassed within the parameters of this app and the ability to get that out across the board.
And I can imagine the easier you can make it, the better, because you don't know how you're going to react in an emergency situation.
And that's true, and part of that whole scenario is, how have we prepared to get to that point? Have our schools got good emergency operations plans and training for those individuals prior to an event happening, right? It has to happen beforehand. With that training, with that preparation, it's something that needs to be repeated. Oftentimes we think about fire drills and those types of things, and I firmly believe, just having a background in that and working with schools in the past from a law enforcement side, that there needs to be more of a focus on these active emergency events, not just the fire alarms.
It's heartbreaking to think that has to be a part of our safety protocols. How often should schools be doing drills like that?
Well, first of all, they should have a comprehensive plan in place, and that plan should be not just something that they've come up with themselves, obviously, but in conjunction and coordination with law enforcement and with other first responder entities. So they have a good, solid plan, not just about how emergency services are going to respond, but specifically, what does the person who is in that emergency do prior to being caught up in it or when it's actually occurring. And if they do that and they have a good solid plan and they've had that training and then they practice it, you could have the best training in the world and have it one time and think, this is wonderful, I've got a great plan, and then not repeat that, and it's lost in your mind. You won't have the ability to respond. So what's critical for me and what I've preached forever and ever is have the plan, have the training, and then repeat it. Have it be part of those emergency drills. Have that be part of your everyday occurrence, making those what-if questions in your mind.
Certainly a lot to think about there, Justin Chapman. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll toss it over to Alana.
Thank you, Courtney.